So Jamaicans are not only being deprived of the beaches and the other tourist hotspots, but Jamaicans are being deprived of Jamaican-made products. Just like on YouTube, figure your brain some new food. Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. I came across a question on Instagram today, and I love the question so much that I thought I have to do a video on this because it's a question that's been asking forever. It's just never been published, and now that it has been published, I thought, okay, let me get on this and let me share my two-piece. The question is Jamaica for Jamaicans or just tourists? It is a great question. The person also argued as a supporting argument by saying beach access in Barbados is free. Okay, I like the comparison, but then again, I don't like the comparison because I believe that we are as big as we think we are. One is as successful as he or she thinks they are. One is as prominent as he or she thinks they are. So by comparing us to Barbados, which is not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, I kind of saw it as being short-sighted. So in my comparison, I went for bigger fishes. You know, I went for UK, I went for Qatar, I went for Singapore, fishes like that, to compare what you would say, the unevenness, the inequality in comparison to other countries versus Jamaica. First and foremost, let me say, I believe that every Caribbean island, which most Caribbean islands possess beautiful beaches, every Caribbean island, the citizens of those islands should have equal access to the beaches, if not free. Now, Jamaicans, as much as Jamaicans love free, Jamaicans are reasonable people. So like the actual question I'd said was, even an affordable cost for cleanup would be acceptable. So Jamaicans are not pretty much saying, okay, we're Jamaican, so we should access all the beautiful white sand beaches free, because you know people are dirty, people are messy, some are careless, and some cleaning up is required. So when you go to the resorts and you see the pristine beaches, let's not forget that there's a cleanup crew that maintain that beach, and somebody has to be paid for that job, because adults and children, doesn't matter the nationality, we often behave like we're children. You know, if you go to some countries like Thailand, you will realize how the British tourists, how they treat the beaches and so on and so forth. Go to some places, I've seen places in Iceland that had to just close down just because of how people treat nature itself, you know, like hot springs that nature produced, and people in Iceland saw it as a way they could make money, but the tourists treated it so bad. So I'm saying Jamaicans can pay a little fee. However, it has always been something that bothered me over the years, the obvious segregation when it comes to Jamaica and the land itself. You know, there are certain things that's just blocked off from the Jamaican citizens, and the tourists actually benefit most from it. Some Jamaicans have to wait till they make certain amount of money, or they have to wait till one of their relatives come from foreign in order to actually enjoy privileges, as they see it as privileges, whether that's going to Dunn's River or that's going to Rick's Cafe in the Grill. Speaking of Dunn's River, let me say, I've been to Dunn's River a couple of years ago, and I believe it's always been that way. There's a double standard there. Jamaicans pay less than tourists. So, given that props. Again, it's been 3 years since I've done that, so I don't know what's the margin. How little does a Jamaican pay in respect to how much does, say, a tourist pay? I don't know if the margin gap is is wide enough, but I will just risk it and say it should be wider. So in other words, I'm saying Jamaicans should actually pay a little to nothing to enter Dunn's River. Why? It's our country. It belongs to the Jamaican people, and all the other tourist accessible places that are now developed in Jamaica and have taken their stationary mark, Jamaica should enter those establishments at a reduced price, a seriously reduced price. Why? Because it's Jamaica. The land belongs to the Jamaican people. So even if you're from Canada or you're from America or you're from Australia and you're there investing and you consider it to be your business, you have to keep in mind that it's on the Jamaican people's land. It's their home. Obviously, you're paying your tax, but what I'm saying, your tax doesn't give you the right to exclude Jamaican people from what is inheritedly theirs. That's like me being born in a family who runs a bakery. If I'm born in a family who runs a bakery, then I shouldn't have to pay anything for bread, really. And I should know what the finest bread tastes like because my family owns a bakery. They bake bread. So all my life I should be saying I've always had the privilege to enjoy the finest breads, and I can tell you about what's a good bread from what's not a good bread. So the same in Jamaica. If you're a Jamaican, you're supposed to have access to all the finest beaches, the finest excursion, the finest of everything that the land has to offer. So, okay, let me start from the smallest thing to the most major thing. So we're talking about Jamaica is famous for marijuana. So a lot of Jamaicans don't indulge in the use of marijuana. When I say the use, I don't necessarily mean smoking it. You know, when I was growing up, I drank marijuana tea. It was given to me by my parents. And as we all know, marijuana is a medical plant. So there are lots of benefits to marijuana. So when it comes to things like marijuana, now that marijuana has been legalized in Jamaica, I did notice that the license of the marijuana legal establishments in Jamaica, I did notice that most of it was given to foreigners. Again, I was offended by that. Here's the thing. There was a meme going around, I believe last year or the year before, that says Jamaica is not a real place. And when I first heard it, I just kind of kissed my teeth and says, that's foolishness. But when you think about it now, maybe there is some logic to it. When I say Jamaica is not a real place, I mean Jamaica is not acting as if it's a country. It seemed like it's a plot of land where it's all about investment. The government is all about how much money can we make off every pebble, every sand grain, every white sand beach, every plant, and whatever money we can make, we're just going to sell. Forget these people who are born here. They just happen to born here. And that has to change. And the reason why it has to change is because Jamaica should be for Jamaicans. So now for my comparison. I'm going to start, the person who asked the question compared it to Barbados. So let me not jump too far away from Barbados. So I'm going to start with Venezuela. Venezuela, which was doing financially well before its embargo from the United States of America, all the citizens of Venezuela benefited from its oil money. All the citizens in Venezuela benefit from it. Venezuela has gotten, because of the embargo, Venezuela has gotten extremely poor, where the average wage is now $6 a month. $6 a month, that only breeds crime and violence. That's a dog-eat-dog world. You can easily put that match together. It's transparent how that's going to result. However, despite its overwhelming poverty and despite all its crisis, because they have all that oil, the government took a stand where filling up your tank with gas in Venezuela was absolutely free. It was almost for nothing. And that is how countries benefit from its own resources. So for Venezuela, it is oil, gas, free to the people because of the embargo. Prior to the embargo, I would only imagine that it wasn't free, but it was dirt cheap. Let me move on to the United Kingdom, where a lot of Jamaicans live. In the UK, when you think about the UK, you think about one of the world's best health organizations, the NHS. In the UK, because you're a resident of the UK or you're a national of the UK, you have access to one of the best health care in the world. You have accessibility. So, resources versus nationality. Let's move on to Libya. Libya is an interesting country that a lot of people don't know about. A lot of people heard about Muammar Gaddafi. Everybody knows the name Gaddafi. But Gaddafi was actually put in the paper to be seen as a control freak, as a dictator. But what the media did not put out there is that the Libyan people benefited comfortably from the profits of oil. Who knew that Libya, of all the countries in the world, Libya was one of the only countries in the world that was not in debt to the World Bank. Libya was financially independent. So, because of its financial independence and the threat that it posed to certain other countries, the leader of Libya has to go down and he has to be marred as black and evil and dictatorial and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's stay away from the politics of it. We're talking about resource versus citizens. The people in Libya benefited from the oil. Everybody had houses. Everybody had money in their pocket given to them because Libya had the world's, Africa's highest GDP. So there we go. So we're talking about benefits. You're a Libyan, your country is filled with oil, you should not be in need of oil. You're Libyan, your country is rich, you should have money in your pocket. I've been to Mexico, and Mexico has some beautiful beaches. And from my understanding, from what I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, there were no limitation to Mexicans from accessing the beautiful beaches that the American and Canadian tourists and other tourists goes to Mexico for. And let's not forget that Mexico is king when it comes to tequila. Tequila in Mexico is dirt cheap to tourists. And to the Mexican, it's like water. It's too affordable. Again, minor resources versus citizen. I have to talk about where I live, Switzerland. Switzerland is known to be a banking country. It's a wealthy country. When people talk about Switzerland, they talk about money. Everybody in Switzerland is supposedly be rich. But Switzerland is also a country that tourists comes to when they go to see the Matterhorn and they go to see this lake and that lake and this nature and that nature. And one thing I can tell you, there's nowhere in Switzerland that is reserved only for tourists. And the wealth of Switzerland, all the people who reside in Switzerland, foreigners and or citizens, benefit from the Swiss wealth. And Switzerland is famous for its cheese, and Switzerland is famous for its chocolate. And when it comes to chocolate and cheese, it's very, very, very affordable to the Swiss people, even though it's not being given away for free. I soon touched the Jamaican local products because I've been in supermarket in Jamaica and seen the prices for things that were made in Jamaica, and it's just ridiculous. But let's compare another country, Singapore. Singapore was a poor country that got overnight rich and has steadily maintained its wealth. And what I can say about Singaporeans, they benefit from the wealth of their country. Everybody in Singapore earns a decent living because of the country's wealth. I've had the opportunity to visit Indonesia. I've only visited the tourist side of Indonesia, which was Bali. While visiting Bali, I realized that it's a tourist mecca. Everybody from around the world seemed to find their way to Bali. And Bali is famous for its nature. Bali is famous for its beaches. And the Balinese people are not limited to go into the caves or the waterfalls or the beaches. And in Bali, it's a fishing town as well. And fish was dirt cheap to me as a tourist. And to the Balinese people, it was practically free. But there were no limitations when it came to resources, landmark versus tourist versus citizen. And last on my list, I'm going to cover Qatar. Qatar is another wealthy country. And just like Singapore, just like Switzerland, the citizens of Qatar benefit from the wealth of Qatar. There is no limitation as to where tourists can go versus where the citizens can go. However, in a lot of countries like Qatar and the Maldives, there may be segregated areas, but it's only because of religious purposes. So most of these countries are stronghold of Islam, the religion Islam, and they welcome tourists, and a lot of tourists are not practitioners of Islam. So because we don't practice Islam, a lot of these places allow areas for tourists where they can wear bikinis and they can do their non-Islamic thing. So that's the only segregation, but that's not really a bad thing. That's more of an accommodation. So now back to Jamaica. When it comes to Jamaica, Jamaica is a beautiful country, but unfortunately there's a lot of Jamaicans that don't see the beauty of this country. And I won't say they don't see, they are deprived of the beauty of this country, Jamaica, because of how the government and the politics is set up. So when it comes to the supermarket, I have been to the supermarket, and Jamaica's supermarket as the same mirroring prices as prices here in Switzerland, even though the people in Jamaica and their earning versus the minimum wage earning in Switzerland is a vast difference. So it shouldn't be that I go to Jamaica and I see a bottle of Listerine for $900. A bottle of Listerine is for $900, which equivalates to about 8 Swiss francs, and I can pretty much get that cheaper in Switzerland. That in itself is ridiculous, but I understand they're going to justify it by saying, well, importation taxes and Listerine was not made in Jamaica. But I've seen cookies in Jamaica. I've seen drinks in Jamaica that says made in Jamaica, and the price tags are ridiculous. 300, 400, 500, 600 for things that are made in Jamaica. So Jamaicans are not only being deprived of the beaches and the other tourist hotspots and the nature that tourists are exposed to, but Jamaicans are being deprived of Jamaican-made products. Ridiculous. So what I believe that all Jamaicans should pay anywhere between 30 to 50% to access these areas that tourists base. The full price of a tourist should be reduced at 30 to 50% for a Jamaican. If a Jamaican wants to go to a resort, for example, just for a day, last time I was in Jamaica, I was there with my wife and my 2 sons, and we had to pay $90 each just for a day pass. And if we have proof that we're Jamaicans, we should not pay that much money, because when you calculate that 90, it equates to the same amount that a tourist pays, if not more. So my take on the matter is Jamaicans should have free access to everywhere that the tourist has access to. And Jamaica should also pay, if necessary, 30 to 50%. Let me hear what's your solution. There's another thing that bothers me when I go to Jamaica. I understand that they say crime is on the high in Jamaica. I'm a Jamaican, I've lived in Jamaica, and I understand that crime is on the high. But you know, everywhere you go in Jamaica, if you go into a beach, there's a security guard. If you go into a supermarket, there's a security guard. It does create an uncomfortable policing kind of tension for me. And don't say it's because I live in foreign too long. There are some things that when I went to Mexico, I had to be reminded that I'm back in the Caribbean. Here in Switzerland, I could move from one supermarket to the next supermarket with my shopping bags. When I went to Mexico, I was moving from one store to the next store, and I was stopped at the door that I need to leave my bag and take a ticket, and that shocked me. I totally forgot where I was, and I totally forgot that things were different other places. But I'm talking about my home country, Jamaica. There are criminals in Jamaica, and there are thieves in Jamaica, like they are in most countries. But I just think it's over-policed. It's over gunned. You know, you go in just to shopping, maybe at a Burger King, you have to see a dude with a gun. You know, you go into a supermarket, a shopping, you have to see somebody with a gun. It's just, it takes away a certain freedom, and it takes away a certain comfort from you. Anyway, without going too far off the track, like I say, my solution is that where the most natural resources are concerned in Jamaica, Jamaicans should access it for free. If not, 30 to 50%. Jamaicans should benefit from Jamaica. There should be something about Jamaica that makes Jamaicans proud, other than heritage, like Bob Marley music and Marcus Garvey's Rain and Usain Bolt's Sprint. There has to be other things that when visitors come to Jamaica and a Jamaican is taking them on tour, there is a national pride that not only that I know where this is and this is, but look, I got in for free because I'm a Jamaican, or I paid this little because I'm a Jamaican and I'm home. If you get what I mean. Anyway, people, that's pretty much it for now. Let me know what you think about this video. As you know, my channel, I appreciate thumbs up, thumbs down, agreement or disagreement, because at the end of the day, people, each one teach one. You've reached the end of my video, and that in itself is a support that I truly appreciate. And while I'm at it, I will take this time out to let you guys know other ways that you can support my channel. The first and simplest way that you can support my channel is by giving this video a thumbs up. And the second and most important way that you can support this channel is by hitting that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel and follow me through my YouTube journey. Other ways that you can support my channel is by going to my Teespring online store and buying some of my merch. And another way that you guys can also support this channel is by joining me in Patreon to give me a contribution to support what I do on YouTube and what I do to entertain you guys. Once again, I want to thank you guys for your continuous support and ask that you join me, Ian T. Sebast, on YouTube and see where my journey takes me. Until next time, people, peace.